Let's continue. Part 2, inside the most prepared country on Earth. Let's check it out. Let's continue.
Shelter. And I'm gonna have to sleep among them.
As I close my eyes, just out of reach of the pine needles, this is where I'm sleeping. Here in my ice tree cave. See you tomorrow.
I'm exhausted, and as I fall asleep, I get the feeling that I'm glimpsing something important and old. Not just a military exercise, but an old tradition, a mindset that you can really only understand if you know Finland's unique story. Finland is stuck between East and West. They were ruled for centuries by Sweden. Then they were conquered and annexed by the Russian Empire in the early 1800s. During that time, Russia tried to stamp out Finnish culture, tried to turn this land and its people more and more Russian, but they resisted. And then, in the early 1900s, Russia descended into a chaotic revolution that threw out the monarchy and eventually gave rise to the first ever large-scale communist system. This would become the Soviet Union, the largest country on Earth, spanning 11 time zones. And right here, little Finland took advantage of the chaotic revolution next door, and they broke free. They declared independence. It got ugly for a few years, there was a bitter civil war, but eventually Finland emerged as a whole independent country. But the threat didn't go away. The Soviet Union wanted to take back land.
Wait, but when Finland declared their independence, wasn't Eastern Karelia still part of Finland? I'm confused. I thought it was at the beginning, right? Wait, let me check it out. Sorry about that, I just want to make sure. Okay, Finland independent on a map. Let's see. 1917, let's see. I might be wrong, you know, I might be wrong, but I want to check it out. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? No, wait. No, okay. No. Okay. I was wrong. I don't know why I was so sure that Karelia was still part of Finland. So it never was actually officially part of Finland. That was the map back then. Because I don't know why I was thinking that. Oh well, okay. I was wrong. I apologize. Let's continue with the video. I mean, come on. He must have made his research. Come on, it's not just spitting random facts.
Land that they believed belonged to them, but soon they'd find themselves in competition with another growing empire. At first, Stalin and Hitler wanted to avoid war with each other, so they signed a pact promising not to fight one another. But then they secretly agreed to give each other spheres of influence into which the other wouldn't invade. On the list of countries that were fair game for Stalin and his Soviet Union was Finland. So just as the winter of 1939 was descending onto Europe, hundreds of thousands of Soviet troops flooded across this long border into Finland. They had tanks and air power, and they were fighting against a much smaller and weaker Finnish army. But despite this, the Finns fought back. Their knowledge of this terrain and their ability to blend into these forests, to slip through them on skis and quietly camp out here in negative 40-degree weather, their attitude of resilience, their commitment to defending their land, all of this allowed them to punch above their weight in what is now known as the Winter War. And they lost territory in this war, but not as much as they should have. They were able to maintain their country and their independence. Soon, World War II.
What are the territories that Finland have lost during the Winter War, during World War II, that now belongs to Russia? Can you please name them for me?
It would engulf this whole continent into war, genocide, and conquest. That spheres of influence agreement between the Soviets and Germany was broken when Germany started conquering East. This is when Finland saw a chance to win back some of their strategic land that they had lost, and they made a difficult choice, accepting troops and supplies from the Nazi regime and going on the offensive against the Soviet Union to get their land back. It was a strategic move in a brutal war, but one that put Finland in a compromising position of aligning with a genocidal regime. With the help of the Nazis, Finland got their land back, and then some.
I mean, I would say they were both genocidal regimes.
But eventually, the Soviets and their Western allies started winning the war, beating back the Nazis. The Soviets then turned their attention back onto the Finns and pushed them back to here. The Soviets made Finland pay them back, made them accept responsibility for the war, and acknowledge that Finland had allied with the Nazis. They were also required to remove German troops from Finland, which they eventually did, though they had to use force to do this in a short conflict in Lapland. By 1945, the devastating World War was over, and Finland somehow remained intact, having paid a heavy price, and coming out of all of this with some serious lessons learned, a traumatic memory imprinted on this nation.
In our conversations, we've heard a lot of people bring up those conflicts. That history seems to be more present here than I normally see.
It's still very vivid, the war history in Finland.
After the Second World War, there's been at least 1 or 2 generations before me. So, but still, I mean, I do feel this memory because also, I know my grandparents were in the war, and those memories just stick.
We have the Winter War and the war after that, and well, it's hard to forget. Although I was not born even yet, but my parents were participating in the war. So
our history as a small country, also our experiences from the Second World War are, they're a generation away. So it's like all our families have stories from that time.
The memory about the Winter War and continuous war, it's there. We lost 10% of our soil. After the Winter
10%!
War. I think that nobody wants to be in that positions anymore.
It has left us with some sort of wounds, like internal wounds, that might play into this, how we feel about Russia.
But this memory isn't just about how they lost land. It's also about how they were somehow able to resist being conquered, especially in the Winter War when they were fighting entirely alone against a much more powerful military.
We were able to maintain the independence throughout. Ever since, we have had to live together with this big neighbor, not in the shadow of it, but under the breath of Russia. And it has created a kind of a special mindset of always being prepared.
what happened in the Second World War, it's really big impact on the culture in Finland, I think still. Even though people would probably say that, it's not that big of a deal, but I think it's like a very, very big influence still today.
Knowing this history made spending time with these soldiers much more meaningful. Almost all of these soldiers are conscripts, mostly young men who are required to serve for up to a year, Finland being one of the few countries in Europe that still requires their people to serve in the military. This provides yet another layer of collective memory and shared experience.
Bro, what? He even went and trained for the... Wait, you can see right here. Training in the Japanese army. Let me see. What? Why Japan is preparing for war with China? Wow, so cool. Wow, he makes really great videos. You can tell whatever you want about the person that is highly controversial, as I said in the last video, and I read some comments that actually agreed with me. But he makes great videos. Come on, you gotta recognize that, definitely. Wow, I wanna check out the one in Japan too.
That makes its way into every Finnish household and family.
People of Finland, we are not afraid, we are concerned. We know what's in the east. We have never forgotten that.
What a night.
That was a cool transition.
Go. I have to break this fort down. I slept as well as you would expect in an ice cave that I made here in the Arctic Circle. A lot faster to kill it than to create it, but that's how it goes, I guess. The platoon leader told me that pine needle makes for some good tea. Gotta try it out. I don't have any coffee. Pine needle tea, let's do this. Oh, that's nice.
We're headed towards another front line when the BV gets stuck. So the platoon is here in this wide open area, fully exposed to the sky. We spend an hour trying to get out, but we get interrupted with the news that a recon drone has spotted our location. And soon, an F-18 Hornet is speeding our way, and within seconds, it drops a simulated payload that hit right on target, the target being us, killing nearly everyone in our unit. The surviving team continues the simulation, acting as they would in a real-world scenario, They take stock of the wounded, they carry them out to safety, and as all of this is happening, the platoon leader breaks the news that he was hit as well.
I'm dead as well, so
Oh, you're dead
there
too.
won't be any advances when right now this platoon is not doing anything.
It's game over for my unit. We had a good run, and I'm certainly much more informed on what Arctic warfare actually means. My time at the base is over. My next stop is the Russian border. But before I say goodbye to the troops, Felix insists that we end our adventure in a traditionally Finnish way, a sauna.
Saunas are a big part of the culture here, and military is no exception. This is a real sauna, heated by those embers.
And even though
Would they let him do the lolu?
my training
wanna
is
see
done,
you.
I can't help but head down to an ice hole, cut into the river.
He's done this.
I'm alive.
Before.
He's done this before.
That was amazing. Oh man, there's nothing better. There is nothing better.
Oh my god, I wanna go to
Okay,
Finland.
now it's time to head east, towards that blood-soaked border with Russia, to continue my journey to understand the Finnish security mindset. It's becoming
And by the way, some of you guys sent me pictures and told me also in the comment section that you saw some tanks on the street going to the border of Russia. What is going on in Finland right now? Does anyone know?
clear that the military is just one layer. The rest of the story takes place elsewhere, in underground bunkers, hiding beneath cities, and along this line in the woods, whose violent history is still on everyone's minds. After World War II, Finland had to play a delicate balancing act. They found themselves once again in the middle of two big hostile forces. Their former invaders, the Soviet Union and their allies to the east, and the US and their European allies to the west. Finland was squeezed between this global Cold War. But being a totally independent, sovereign democracy that was increasingly leaning west, Finland still had to deal with the fact that this superpower, the Soviet Union, like all superpowers, felt entitled to a sphere of influence around its borders. Finland knew all too well how easily the Soviets could violently cross this long border to secure that influence. It was etched in blood in their collective memory. So while Europe was hardening into an American-led alliance, Finland had to walk a tightrope.
We have always known that Russia is or can be a threat, but always still, focusing very much on defense and the potential threat which Russia might be posing.
People saw a risk in kind of stirring up the situation that we had in the area. The feeling was that there was less to gain by a NATO membership than by continuing to take care of the territorial defense by ourselves.
In retrospect, we now see that Finland played this situation very well. They promised to stay non-aligned, meaning joining neither alliance. And instead, they would go on to continue building a capable military based on mandatory service and founded on the principles of resilience, discipline, endurance, and a commitment to keep alive that collective memory of the importance of defending your soil. And, somewhat famously, the sauna helped in keeping the peace. During the tensest years of the Cold War, one Finnish president would invite the Soviet leader, Nikita Khrushchev, to strip down and sauna with him, where they would talk geopolitics, build rapport. Many believe this was one important way that Finland avoided tension with the Soviet Union. Meanwhile, the border between these two countries thrived. Trade flowed, tourists came, these neighbors stayed peaceful. But eventually the Soviet Union fell, and global peace seemed right around the corner. Most countries in Europe pared down their military. They did away with mandatory service. But Finland did not. They stayed the course of vigilance and preparedness, their proximity too close, their collective memory too strong to let them let down.
Quite many countries has lost their ability to fight this kind of a close fight that we are expert on.
I guess it's also the consciousness that the reality could be so different if we lived in an autocracy like Russia.
But soon, the careful tightrope that Finland walked for decades would soon be shaken.
Ukraine is under attack by land, sea and air. Cities across the country come under intensified attack.
Well, to be honest, I remember it like it would have happened yesterday. I stayed awake that night, and that changed everything. It was a complete disappointment, and the trust was gone in one night.
I was at home. The signal was that now is the time to really join NATO. And really this is also difficult to describe, not only from the point of view that we want to take care of our own security, we want to feel safer, but also the consciousness that we need to contribute to the security of our values and essentially the entire alliance.
The support for NATO went up first 53% in the first weeks and then up to 76% and later even over 80%. People reconsidered the situation as a whole. Overnight.
Finland and their neighbor Sweden
crazy.
joined the alliance in April 2023, putting a final end to decades of non-alignment and the diplomatic balancing act with their neighbor to the east.
I think it's a little sad we lost our neutrality, but I think it was the only choice to guarantee our freedom.
I'm very happy that we are now members. So I think we feel very good, we feel protected, we are not alone.
Everybody believed that being neutral will help Finland stay out of trouble. But when Russia attacked Ukraine, it showed us that, okay, we can't trust in us being...
Yeah, because also Ukraine didn't join NATO. I think they did the same thing. They promised to be neutral, if I'm not mistaken, no?
Neutral.
No, I'm safer, definitely safer. I think so. We are member of NATO, and it's our army is very good, and we hope it will continue because Mr. Trump speaks this and that.
Now that Trump is in office and it seems impulsive, then that brings us more of these feelings of anxiousness. But if everything is stable in USA, then I think NATO feels also stable and brings peace.
I feel that Finland joining NATO was necessary. I feel quite good about it at the moment.
After the attack, it was the best decision ever, in my opinion.
Before we joined NATO, a lot of people were kind of stressed about if Russia was going to come here next. But now that we've joined NATO, I think a lot of that stress has gone away and there's way less anxiety about a war coming. I feel much more secure.
The civilian society opened their eyes, okay, this is happening. We need to do some decisions now. It's good that we did those decisions.
Why is it good?
So that we would never be alone again.
In the autumn 23, Russia started to instrumentalize migration.
Up at this snowy border crossing at the north, Russia started dropping off refugees who had come to Russia seeking asylum, but now they were sending them to Finland, presumably with the hope of causing debate and division over migration within Finland, one of several hybrid war tactics that Russia has used to sabotage the West.
We are 15 minutes away from the Russian border in a very rural part of the country. And I'm very curious what that border looks like right now.
Me too.
There's not a single soul in sight. No cars. Suomi is Finland, and then right there is Russia. So not too long ago, this was a thriving border crossing. Like, people would come from Finland into Russia to get cheap gas. People would come from Russia into Finland for tourism and stuff that they could buy here. People have relatives on different sides of the border. But after this escalation in Ukraine, it turned into this ghost town that it is today. It's looking closed. Oh man, this is ominous. Okay, here I am. Here's the gate to Russia. And it is totally closed.
In 2019, it was around 9.5 million border crossing on a yearly basis.
Wow.
And now we are in a situation where the border is closed.
Completely silent out here. Let's see if I can get in.
Hey, good morning. Hi. How you doing?
Oh, that's so cool.
At the moment, we have no political contacts at all with Russia due to the fact that they blatantly violated international law.
Okay, we're at a border station now.
Hello. Sir, Nicolo.
Hi there.
Hi.
Johnny.
Mikko.
Yep.
Are you first time in Finland?
Yeah, first time. Training with the soldiers. They think a lot about this border. They think a lot about the potential threat. Pretty interesting to see how quiet it is here.
Even though all the border crossings are now closed, the guards here still patrol the line like normal.
So tell me about this dog. What's his job or her job?
Things here are different now, not just because the drug-sniffing dog has less work to do because no one's crossing, but there's new tension in the air, tension that awakens some of the ghosts of the past. Those winter war battles were fought on this very ground.
As, let's say, border guards in service of Finnish nation, I think we all think maybe a bit more about the military history of the areas. Border guard troops have fought here before, so we are kind of the legacy bearers of those who came before us. Of course, I would think that everyone here from time to time thinks about those things. I think maybe it's one of these unifying events in our nation's history.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's on people's minds all over the place.
All around this border area, you see reminders of what happened all those winters ago. And now this ghost town of a border, in all of its quiet tension, is just another visual reminder of why they prepare, why they have always prepared.
Do you think it'll open back up?
It's really difficult to say that.
Yeah.
It's not in our hands.
Yeah.
As you can say, the world is changing so rapidly. But we are here and we're ready, whatever is decided.
They tell me I can drive along the border, as long as I don't try to cross it. But before I leave, I have to ask.
On the inside, do you guys have any maps that you can show me? Or any visuals?
No, actually a bit restricted on that one.
That's what I figure, yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Driving now right along the Russian border. Long, long border. Very wooded, very snowy, very quiet. Okay, here we are. That is Russia, just over that fence. Finland has built so much of its security strategy around the memories that exist here on this border. The memories of bloodshed and violence, of their land being taken. But when you're here at this border, it is quiet, it's silent, it's peaceful, it's beautiful. But in the air is this tension of, will that memory come back? Finland is very, very dedicated to making sure that doesn't happen.
This
As I head back
documentary
to
is
Helsinki,
amazing.
the capital, something that one of the border guards said to me stuck in my head.
I don't know if it's unique, but the preparedness kind of stretches into all sectors of life.
Yeah.
So it's not only the military and police and this, but also the civilian infrastructure is integrated quite well.
As an American, it's hard to think of defense as anything other than a large, powerful military. But it's becoming clear that here, they think of it very differently. The next piece of the puzzle to understand this is hidden under this city. It represents one of the most important layers to the Finnish defense strategy, to the mindset of preparedness. And it's something that basically no other country on Earth has, but that could prove key to this country's security, and might even be a part of explaining why these people are considered the happiest in the world.
There's this little glass box right here that I'm about to go into, because apparently there's a huge bunker underneath. I love bunkers.
Let's see. And I keep seeing people with hockey sticks descending into the glass box.
Oh, you can also play.
Or
Oh
going
yeah. I've reacted to a video before where they showed the underground bunker in Finland that you could do so many other things in the bunker until it would be, I don't know, it's just there for a reason. Whether the war was struck out again, you will need to use it. And when it's not in function, of course, you can just do tons of other stuff in there. So that's pretty cool. I love that.
We're going very down.
We're going to the shelter.
Yes, cool. Wow. Wow, this place feels like you're in a cave.
So we
Hey,
are
you can
now
play
approximately
sports,
20 meters
no?
below ground.
Sure enough, there's a huge bunker down here. It's one of many massive underground shelters all over the country.
In Helsinki, we have 5,500 independent shelters, and we have sheltering places for over 900,000 people. And Helsinki is only 680,000 strong. It's not in scale, but still, this shelter is intended for this residential area only.
I see. Okay, but what are these bunkers for?
Flying objects, shrapnel. The shaft is making turns like this, so the pressure gets absorbed to the bedrock. And then the first man-made barricade is that pressure wall, which is theoretically nuclear proof.
Wow.
That's a small one.
Oh, it's the small one.
It's a small one. The second man-made barricade against weapon effects is the chemical door, which we can keep all the toxic elements out of the shelter, and we can keep slides overpressure on the shelter.
This is not a normal thing for
You speak English so well in Finland. What the hell? I wish in Italy was the same.
a country to do. I explored the bunker culture of Switzerland, which is also very unique, but almost no other country on earth has this much bunker space for their people. And it isn't long before I'm told that these bunkers are directly tied to the same history, the same memory that we've been hearing about everywhere.
And since the Second World War, where the biggest threat was airplane, an airplane carried weapons, these hard shell and closable quarters became only way to protect citizens against weapon effects. We have keeping it within our legislation ever since.
After the experience of the Second World War, we saw the need to really protect our civilian population as best as we could. We never gave up, not even when the Cold War is finished, unlike many other European countries.
Yeah.
So we've always had a very clear view of the threat picture that we face because of our geopolitical location.
We go through this next door, and I understand why I saw so many people carrying hockey sticks down here.
So cool. Yeah, I remember seeing that video.
He just told me that they rent this out to business people who are the ones who are responsible for making use out of it and maintaining it.
That's the dual use purpose.
Yeah, and they manage all of the coordination.
Yeah, and then they pay us rent, and it is being maintained.
That's incredible. Wow. Is there food storage down here then?
No, because you don't need food.
I guess you need water.
Yeah, the person is designed it so we cannot live without air for no more than 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If we had air, we cannot live without water for no more than 3 days. Person which has air and water can live without food for up to 3 weeks. Again, it's not supposed to be nice.
Of course.
This isn't a hotel.
Yeah.
It is a place where you keep yourself alive.
In Finland, bunkers are used for a lot of things, not just hockey rinks, but a pool, like this one, that can be quickly drained in case of an emergency.
Wow.
Or, as I see
so
when I
cool.
walk through this door, a parking garage business. And the use case I found most surprising. Oh, wow. It just keeps on going. Look at this. Whoa.
Oh!
Wow.
Yeah.
Must be.
How many square meters is all of this?
18,000.
How much of it is?
Wow, 18,000.
17,000.
The bunker is just the beginning. They walk me through all the specific roles and responsibility for every person who comes into this shelter looking for protection. They tell me about the
Do they all look like these, the bunkers in Finland? I'm really curious.
courses and classes that almost every member of society takes for emergency preparedness. And this is where it all clicks for me. what that border guard was saying about how the military is just the beginning of their defense, but that security and preparedness is everywhere. Finland isn't a place where the government protects the people. It's a place where the people protect each other through a tightly woven web of commitments, responsibilities, values, training, and a shared worry that no one ever really forgets about. And let me just tell you, I could kind of get a glimpse of the depth of this web, this commitment, but I could tell that it goes so much deeper than I could ever fully grasp on a short visit, much less communicate in a short video. But it's here, it's unique, and it's deeply inside of the minds of everyone that I talk to.
It's clear that, you know, when you have a border that's also a NATO border now, then you have to be prepared for all eventualities.
We have had our difficulties with all of our neighbors.
Yes.
Vikings, Swedish, Russians, we have had them all.
The civil defense man invoking the conquest of the Vikings to evangelize emergency preparedness, all while standing in front of a playground inside of a 20-meter deep bunker, really says it all. This place is unique. What led me to
I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of unique, the situation that Europe is in right now. I mean, that there's peace for so much time. Like the threat, yes, is coming from Russia right now, but before, especially in Western Europe, there was almost no threat. I mean, there was threats, of course, but we lived in peace for so many years. I cannot imagine, like, in a continent, all these years in peace. Like, since World War II, I feel like in Europe, at least in the western part of Europe, there was no word that struck out. That's crazy if you think about it. Like, go back a century to the beginning of times, you cannot find other times where the world has been in peace for so long, at least a part of the world. Wow, that's incredible if you think about it. So yeah, let's hope that more and more people will understand that. So maybe, I don't know, we will be already dead, but maybe in 100 or 200 years there will just be peace in this world, hopefully. Come on, let's hope they will learn from our situation, even if we continue to do worse, but still less than before. So yeah, let's hope they will learn.
Finland was a curiosity about its military capabilities. Small country with a big, capable military. Its Arctic warfare skills, its unique geopolitical position, its recent accession to NATO. But after exploring the security of this nation, I'm seeing a country where every person has some role to play in the defense of the people and the land. They prepare and they train, not just in military bases, but in office buildings, in business boardrooms. They all know where to go in case of an emergency. Because, of course I do, that's where I play hockey on Thursday nights. But more importantly, they know what to do if an...
Is that what you do? You do play hockey on Thursday night. It used to be us that we play like football in the little field Thursday nights between friends. I don't do that anymore, but before I still remember we always do that every week. It was fun.
Emergency arrives at their doorstep. So as I've been mulling over this question of why Finland continues to be the happiest country on earth, I had some theories. Maybe it's because they drink double the amount of coffee of other European countries. Or maybe it's because they spend so much time in saunas.
Yeah,
or maybe
for sure.
It's because, in addition to being a rich country with plenty of abundance, they also have what a lot of other rich countries lack: a sense of collective belonging. A unity that is, yes, provoked by a threat, but that has turned into a source of empowerment and confidence for the people, who all feel united in a goal of securing...
If I have to compare this feeling of unitedness that Finland has, I would say the only country that comes to my mind that does the same is Poland. They are very patriotic, yeah.
Their freedom. The way the world is going, the Finns may need to pull upon this preparedness. The melting ice to the north is turning the Arctic into a new domain for geopolitical competition. And to the south, Finland is already seeing and responding to Russian sabotage of internet cables in the Baltic Sea. And these border guards are preparing for increased military activity and potential sabotage along this line. Felix left me with a gift. A badge from the Jaeger Brigade, a symbol of friendship
I want
and
it
belonging,
too!
and a reminder to me of the time I got to glimpse this unique place, this special mindset that keeps this country safe and these people deeply united.
Wow. This was a great video. Wow, this was really incredible. Go and check out Johnny Harris' channel. Wow, this was a great reportage of the country of Finland. I really loved it. I saw you guys send me also a link for another video. I don't remember right now which video it was, like Arctic defense or whatever. Yeah, anyway, I saved it. So in the future, I will be checking it out. That's like a 1 hour and 7 minutes video. So maybe I will do, I don't know, a live stream reacting to it, but I plan to make another live stream first. I want to check out some of those AI generated videos that show the most beautiful places of Finland. Of course, it's AI generated, but still, come on, we're gonna explore together Finland. Since I'm too broke to travel there, we're gonna do that. So let me know down in the comments when it's more convenient for you to check out the live stream so we can watch your beautiful places together. Thank you so much for staying with me for this. 36 minutes already. Wow. That was a great video. That was a great video, by the way. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, go and check out his channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you soon.